So good to see you, Secretary.
Igualmente, nos da muchísimo.
Likewise, it is such a pleasure to welcome you today. Good morning, Secretary Blinken. Welcome to Mexico, and mostly welcome to the Secretariat of the Economy. Good morning. It is such a pleasure, Secretary Blinken, to see you not just in Mexico, but at the Secretariat of the Economy. It is a pleasure for us to have this first meeting with you, and we are certain that this will be a great step so as to strengthen the relationship between Mexico and the United States. It would have been great to have you visit us here, but we are certain that sooner than we expect, we'll be able to shake hands in person and give you the welcome you deserve. We know that for the relationship between Mexico and the United States, this is not just a relationship of friends, neighbors, and trade partners. We share more than that. We share a huge border, which has had us be united for such a long time. We have had achievements between our two nations, not only speaking of trade. In our trade relationship, we had over 538 million daily trade exchanges. This is a very interesting figure, and please know that we are ready to work with our counterparties, the future trade representative, Gina Raymond, the next Secretary of Trade, and Isabel Guzman, who will be in charge of SMEs. Allow me to say that it is always a pleasure to work with the United States Embassy in Mexico. Our colleague and friend John Kramer, with whom we meet every fortnight. We hold meetings to see how we will continue to work to continue to deepen this bond. Thank you so very much, John, for this coordinated work. Please allow me to say that President López Obrador is extremely interested and is betting on this work through the USMCA, trade relations, and the strengthening of the work between both nations is of the utmost importance. He sees the USMCA as a big tool for recovery post-COVID, maybe during COVID, but I think we could start discussing the post-COVID era. And allow me to discuss the outage of supply chains that have affected not just the world, but also our countries as a result of COVID. We know President Biden has requested a review in a term of 100 days in supply chains in the United States, specifically regarding chips and large capacity batteries and pharmaceuticals and strategic minerals. Mexico, we are sure, could be part of these large efforts so as to ensure that in North America, we can have the necessary supply for this type of goods. They cannot be a problem. We want to be suppliers of these goods. We want to work hand in hand with you, your government, and the government of Canada to strengthen the platform for trade in North America. The pandemic has shown us that only if we work jointly, and here I believe our colleague John Kramer is not going to let us lie. I believe when we work together, we can face challenges in an easier way, creating synergies so that things can progress. We reiterate our willingness to work with your government hand in hand, not just for Mexico to do better, but for the 3 countries who have signed the USMCA. We will all become stronger for the benefit of our peoples. You have the floor, Secretary. Many thanks to you.
Well, Madam Secretary, thank you so much. First, thank you for receiving our virtual delegation. And as you said, I wish we could be there in person, but also, as you said, I think that day will come sooner rather than later, and I very much look forward to it and being able to work in close cooperation with you. I think I share all of the sentiments you've already expressed, both the general perspective and even some of the substance that we started to get into regarding supply chains. But I couldn't agree more that we have already such a vital and vibrant economic relationship between our countries, and one that is to the benefit of Mexicans and Americans alike. And I think we have a common opportunity as well as responsibility to work to deepen and strengthen that. And as you said, particularly as our countries emerge from COVID-19, and we're embarked on a shared effort to, as President Biden says, build back better, we have real opportunities in the trade and economic space to do the same thing. But having kicked things off, let me ask our colleagues from the press to have an opportunity to get some coffee somewhere, and then we can continue. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to welcome you to Mission Mexico City. It's a great honor, certainly for the mission, to host the first ever virtual visit by a secretary. And certainly with this, we hope to add an important footnote to the storied history of the mission. It's going to be a unique experience. We also recognize that your visit highlights the importance of the U.S.-Mexico relationship, which we like to think is one of the most important ones we have, and which affects the daily lives of more Americans probably than any other foreign relationship that we have. Okay. For the community, I'd just like to note that the Secretary was sworn in as the 71st Secretary of State on January 26th. Prior to being sworn in, he's held numerous foreign policy positions over the years, including being the Deputy Secretary under Secretary Kerry. He's also worked as a journalist, as a fellow at a think tank, and as a key player as a congressional staffer. So, Mr. Secretary, it's my pleasure to invite you to address Mission Mexico.
Well, John, thank you very, very much. And hello, everybody. It is wonderful to be with you virtually and hopefully at some point soon in person. But thanks so much to our Charge d'Affaires, John Creamer, for your leadership and for that very kind introduction. I want to say thank you as well to Yvonne Gonzalez and Naomi Fellows for their hard work as the control officers for this unique visit. I'm wondering exactly what kind of wheels up party you're going to have when I quote unquote leave. Maybe it's a link down party. We need to find some kind of new terminology for it. But I'm really grateful for all you've done to make this possible. And I really do wish I could be with you in person today. But I'm delighted that we're pioneering virtual travel together. With your help, we put together a strong itinerary for my first trip to Mexico as Secretary. We've got meetings with leaders across the Mexican government, a virtual tour of the El Paso Ciudad Juarez port of entry. By the end of the week, I think we will have touched on many of the critical issues that the United States and Mexico deal with together: migration, security, economic growth, regional competitiveness, environmental sustainability. We could literally stretch this visit out for weeks and still have more issues to cover because, as you know better than anyone, our relationship with Mexico is one of the most comprehensive we have in the world. And I very much agree with John. This really is one of the most important relationships we have with any country anywhere. And that's why I'm visiting Mexico during my very first trip as Secretary. The family, the cultural, the economic, the security, the political, the legal ties we have with Mexico are vast. And you, the women and men of Mission Mexico, are responsible for maintaining those ties every single day. So I really wanted to just say one very simple thing at the outset, and that's thank you. Whether you're direct hire employees, locally employed staff, family members, whether you work for the State Department or for one of the many other U.S. government agencies represented here, from Treasury to the FDA to the DOJ, you are part of this mission. So thank you for serving the United States. And thank you for shaping and leading this complex diplomatic partnership, which is so vital to American interests and maybe more than anything else, directly affects millions of American families, millions of American lives every day. I have some sense from my past service that this work is often difficult. I know it takes sacrifice, and that's in normal times. This past year has been particularly hard because of COVID-19. You've lost 21 colleagues to the virus, including contractors and local guards. That's devastating. And I know that many more of you have gotten sick or seen loved ones get sick. So I want you to know that stopping this pandemic is our #1 priority. Nothing matters more to me than your health and safety. That is job one. So I'm determined to do everything we can to make sure that all our Mission Mexico employees and eligible family members are vaccinated as soon as possible in every consulate across the country. I don't think it's a secret that there have been logistical challenges, but I want to tell you the administration is working fast, and we will give you as much information as we can, as soon as we can, as we make our vaccination plans and we execute on them. We have to be partners in this every step of the way, and I'm determined that we move this as quickly as we possibly can. I also want to acknowledge the extraordinary work that you've done to keep this embassy functioning throughout the pandemic. Consulate General Monterrey managed to process more than 250,000 H-2 visas last year, and that in turn helped secure the U.S. Food supply chain. Mission Mexico adjudicated more than 40% of all non-immigrant visas worldwide. That's remarkable. Last time I was in Mexico as Deputy Secretary, I spent some time visiting with Consular Affairs, visiting with the American Services folks, and I know what a remarkable job you're doing every day. And again, in this pandemic, what was already a challenging task has become even more so. You've ensured that critical manufacturing and service supply chains stayed operational. USAID kept its work going with farmers and communities in southern Mexico, helping them switch to more sustainable land management practices. And on the public diplomacy front, you continue to engage the Mexican public virtually. I know you do this work because you believe in it. It is more than a job. It is truly service. And I just want you to know that as Secretary, I will try to honor your service by doing all I can to support you. I know that we have work to do as a department to rebuild trust, rebuild morale. We've got to do a better job listening to the women and men of state when formulating policy. We've got to invest in diversity and inclusion, and I know that's a priority for this mission. More broadly, we've got to build a workplace culture of collegiality, teamwork, and respect. I am deeply committed to this work, and I want to be clear. It doesn't just apply to the people at Maine State. It applies to you and all your colleagues in embassies and consulates around the world. We are all part of this community, and I am incredibly proud to be your secretary. So thank you again for helping make my first virtual trip to Mexico a success. I look forward to the day when I can be there in person, but mostly thank you for your service to the United States.